Yo, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 57 of the Strip Poker Night at the Inventory podcast. I'm your host, spnanon. I'm here with my co-host, nmasp, who may or may not be homeless in a few short hours.
It's true. I'm being evicted from my house into a new house. No, good to see everyone.
And our guest, Tweetsy12.
Yeah.
Howdy, folks.
Good to have Tweetsy on the cast.
Go ahead and introduce
Tweetsy. Go ahead.
Tweetsy. Sorry,
howdy,
all right,
folks.
this is a train wreck.
Yeah.
Fittingly.
Speaking of train wreck, yes, I am Tweetsy12. I am Spinatti's resident train nut. I was the developer for Hatsune Miku, who recently hit testing last month. So if you haven't played with her, go do it. Development has slowed on her, but I'm still really proud of her. I also have plans to develop Nadeshiko Kagamahara from Eurocamp in the near future. A model is being worked on, slowly but surely. No dialogue has been written yet, but keep your eyes peeled for that one. I'm sure she's going to be a good character.
Also, when you say a testing roster, you mean the main roster, right? Miku just...
Oh, yes, that's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Good to have her on the main roster. I gave you some advice last time I think you could use for her, but if you want to find the advice that I gave to him in more detail, you guys can always go review previous episodes of the cast on YouTube.
Exactly.
All right, Tweetsy, briefly. So what are your thoughts for Hatsune Miku? Where do you want to take her in the future?
Well, the one thing I do want to do with her going forward is really just add more character interactions in and make her more social. That, I think, is currently the biggest criticism people had. I know Cobrad brought it up in the last episode. So my plan is to add more filtered lines and add more character interactions. We got a really big one with Saki, Emergent Saki coming up. You all are really going to like that one, I think. Not to mention, I want to get some more interactions in with Streaming Chan, Noir, maybe Barbara, a few others. I'll just have to get in contact with the developers.
Always good practice to reach out to your co-devs and get some dialogue going.
All right, nmasp. Well, it's time to cover the main roster characters. Please lead us in.
We are about to
with a character you once worked on.
It's true. Welcome back to the main roster, Spider-Gwen, aka Spider-Woman, aka Gwen Stacy from, I think, Universe 665, I believe. Anyway, it's Spider-Gwen. I worked on
You could tell me anything, and I'd believe
probably.
it.
Someone's going to yell at me in the comments, be like, read the lore. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So anyway, she was a main roster character back in, I believe, 2017 or 2018. And then I stopped developing her for a wide variety of reasons. And recently she was just picked back up in the Masquerade by Boranerger, co-author of Fat Llama and artist Effie Freak. What was the character that Effie Freak did art for besides Gwen? I really liked it, but I don't recall exactly who. But Borner also wrote, or just saying, also wrote Caulifla. So I will give my thoughts on the character after everyone else has had a turn. But it's good to see her back on the main roster. I think she's just phenomenally better from where I left her. And great job, team. You did it.
I think Effie Freak worked on Amy Rose.
Right, yeah. Good art.
Which is weird because he's not called Sonic Freak.
Yeah.
All right, Tweetsy, what do you think of Gwen's return?
Well, first of all, her model is really good. Love how she captures her appearance from Into the Spider-Verse very well. The one of my favorite details is how they did the hair. Because in the movie, and we might be going into a little bit of spoiler territory here, but there's a scene where Miles and Gwen's hair gets stuck on one another, and it leaves part of Gwen's hair shaved, and it remains that way for the rest of the movie. I love that little detail. Not to mention, it's Spider-Woman, so, hey. It is, honestly, I just think she's really well done. Great character. I guess, over to you, spnanon.
I remember this character having a very let's say, publicized. It's, I don't know, it's the equivalent of like a Spinati like band breaking up, where the original developers didn't like kind of separate on the best of terms, and they all kind of had their idea of where they wanted to take her, particularly her art. And there were like 4chan arguments of them posting the models, like they're each their respective models.
What happened here? I actually legitimately don't remember this.
I know it was a while ago. But
I wasn't even
basically like Frost wanted to do one thing and Yuri wanted to do another, and they both had their own model. You kind of remember this?
Shit. Oh, I kind of remember. All I remember is I just like would open the model or open the character in the editor and be like, yeah, I don't really want to work on this right now, and then I just didn't for like a good 18 months, and then just got picked up in the Masquerade. So everything worked out. Moral story:
you were sufficiently removed from the project to the point where Bonerger didn't even know that you originally worked on it.
Yeah, that was great. He reaches out to me. He's just like, yeah, like the writing here wasn't all that good. And I'm like, I wrote this. He's like, oh, sorry. And I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. I can't affect the way you feel about it. So it was just funny.
I think this, like Yuri's model, for instance, I don't have it on hand. That would take a while to find. But it sort of went like really hard into the movie design, like very stylized. And I think this is a little bit more of a compromise.
Yeah, I like the art quite a bit.
It comes out nice and super appealing. Well, like she's still got like sort of the punkish, the shaved head look, the side cut, but she's still got like let's find a pose where her eyes are open. She's got like still kind of a cartoony look that I can get into, and she emotes really well. The body's nice, and I guess she doesn't string up Marinette anymore, right?
I don't think. No, that's not a thing that happens in the new Marinette model.
It's a relic from a bygone age.
Yeah, it's from a less civilized time in the frontier of Spinati.
Now Leon just taps Hu Tao's ass or whatever.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
You haven't really.
It's easier it's easy when you're not writing all the dialogue back and forth between yourself. Like that was really hard about like Marinette and Adrian. It's just like, yep, they've got like 3,000 lines to target each other. And I wrote all of them. Kill me. So don't do that is my advice.
Speaking of Napsu.
All right, on to Ayano.
I mean, I think you already said your piece about Gwen, so.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. Go ahead, lead us in.
All right. So, Ayano. First of all, she's probably the best thing to come out of Yandere Simulator, because for those of you who have been following that game, you know how much of a goddamn hellhole
it's the only thing to come out of Yandere Simulator.
Yeah, that's true. I will say this. Another thing is that Ayano is creepy, but in a good way. Like, she's like, yeah, like you do sort of feel like she's going to stab you in the back at the end of the game, but at the same time, you kind of empathize with her. She's like, it's almost like a two-faced character, almost. Where you have like a sweet innocent side, and then the evil murderer. I did not need to do that, but like, so yeah, Ayano's very interesting. I will also say that she definitely seems to be interested in the player character a lot, and that makes sense since she's a yandere. Of course, I've never played Yandere Sim, so I cannot give more insight into her character, but good job to the guy who worked on her. It's really good to see her in game, and finally good to see something come out of Yandere Sim.
You can speak for yourself. I personally do not empathize with the murderous Yandere, but
fair enough.
Pretty sure that guy that worked on her is Napsu, or is it Napsu or Napsu?
It's Napsu.
All right, Napsu. And I was really surprised to see this character actually make it across the finish line, because I was assuming pretty reasonably that Napsu's work is just performance art that mimics the source material, and that she would just leave Ayano forever unfinished.
I kind of think that would not have surprised me either, but I'm glad the character got finished, at least, if only because I think the depiction of the character is really interesting. And not to say like Jan Sim sets such a low bar, but I think there's like elements of this character that are really interesting, and I think could be better portrayed in like another setting almost, where it's just like there's more of a person here than I think there is in the game. But that's not saying a whole lot. So who knows? I'm glad that she crossed the finish line, but I'm also disappointed that the performance art of it is now gone.
I mean, the real reason I thought she would never be finished is like she was basically finished. She was basically sponsored, and Natsu looked at the sponsorships and was like, I don't feel like it. So I assume she hasn't changed all that much.
Into the garbage can. Yeah, I don't think she did. I'm not really sure what actually changed between first effort and second effort. So
I mean, to
be fair, that would have fit Yandere Simulator because
it's just bug fixes that introduce new bugs to the game.
The last time she was on this cast, I did praise her, particularly her writing and sort of how she never veered too far into the crazy murderer. It was always a more realistic, just like gossipy schoolgirl that would like to neg you.
Her art's really cute too. I wish Beta would return to us. So, with that being said, I will go ahead and move us on to our next main roster character, Samus Aran, to replace old school Samus.
Which definitely murdery.
What?
Ayano is kind of murdery. Samus is definitely murdery.
Oh yeah, Samus kills the shit out of like aliens. God, Regret Droid is a really good song by Starbomb. Highly recommend. Anyway, so whenever a character like is purged from the main roster to make way for their new version, they usually get a suffix added. So Samus Aran is the replacement for old school Samus, and quite an interesting character. The way that her writer Cool Cat has portrayed her with artist Metalitar. And let's hop into this a little bit. So Tweetsy, give us your thoughts on Samus.
Okay, so if you've been on the Spnanon Discord server, because I'm sure of you, a few of you, at least watching this, are on there. You've probably heard the term Veronica has been vanquished, and that joke really came from the fact that Samus, from what I've understood, her original model, her original character, very much felt like a porn parody of Samus. Like, she was too lewd. And this new Samus definitely feels more in character for Samus Aran, and overall, it is incredible how well they've written her. Another thing I really liked is that they incorporated the power suit into Samus's outfit, which is mind-bogglingly insane to me. Like, how? How do you make this in Kiseki? Like, how does somebody do this? This is legit incredible. The amount of effort put in to Samus's power suit. And just Samus in general, I think, has to be one of the best glow-ups Spinati has ever seen. She went from this stupid porno parody character to this absolutely goddamn incredible character who I would argue is one of Spinati's best. Who developed this character?
It was Cool Cat and Metalitar.
So it would have been Cool Cat and Metalitar. Metalitar?
Oh, yeah. Applause to the both of y'all. You did an incredible job. I am very impressed with your work. Looking forward to see what you both do in the future.
Well, I'm glad you flooded her with such praise, because, as usual, I have to play bad cop.
Spananon and I have a slightly different opinion, but as you can see, the developer community is certainly not a monolith, and it's a good thing to see a wide range of perspectives.
No, to be clear, I don't think she's bad.
Oh, sure.
I would describe her more as distinctly middle of the road, which is kind of humorous, because that's probably how I would describe original Samus, as distinctly middle of the road, just of a different flavor. It's not like, I mean, obviously the art is very well done, at least like the modeling and general power suit and the Zero suit even, nice detailing. Since last time she was given a select, quite a few butt poses, even in the bodysuit, which, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. Well, actually, you can. But they didn't go wrong. I think more than anything, my criticisms of Samus, I mean, a lot of them are subjective. A lot of them are, I don't personally know that much about Metroid. It's just kind of what I got from osmosis, but I don't think there's a whole lot to her. So some of them are just, I personally would not have chosen to write the character this way. Others are, I think this is kind of what happens when, you got creators who aren't, they kind of want to work on this character, but they also don't really want to work on her forever. They're not in love with her. So I think they kind of either fall into their typical habits, or they're just ready to move on. And just kind of they make the changes they need to make, but they're not super concerned with polishing them after the fact. There are the subjective criticisms I would make are basically the ones I made when she was on testing, which is just, I'm not super convinced by the tone of voice. I still think she kind of sounds like Jim because he wrote Jim. It was a similar sort of a character that also travels around in space. So she's kind of got a lot of those cowboy mannerisms and choices of speech. She even says "dang." I can't imagine Samus ever saying that. Maybe she does.
Yeah, Samus saying "hot," God dang it, Bobby.
Hot diggity doggone.
Dang it, Bobby.
Doug Dimmadome.
This is my Samus April Fool's outfit. Just give her Hank Hill out. Just give her the Hank Hill outfit.
Yeah, she had a line where she's like, "Oh, I'm really up a creek here." It's like, does Samus even know what a creek is?
Propane, I sell propane and propane accessories.
Dang it, Bobby.
Yeah, so there's things like that. I think she smiles too much. I want my stoic girl. She's got parenthetical inner thoughts, which you can do. I personally, I think seeing too much into a stoic character's mind kind of ruins the whole stoicism aspect. But she's not written to be overly stoic. She's written as if she's trying to not be stoic, which I understand. That's just not where I would have taken it, because I'm not sure there's enough to really dig into there. Ironically, that kind of makes her more like the original Samus in terms of, a stoic person that wants to cut loose and have more fun. And there were just other things, just very.
And that's kind of my general critique on Samus as well, is just the. She's too serious almost, and I feel like you want to see a little bit more emotion out of Samus, because you can probably take the best parts of old Samus, which, hot take, right, is, I don't think she needs to be super sexually open, but just she's there to kind of have a good time and relax and be a little bit more socialized, and we can interpret the character differently on that. But more of a Smash Brothers Samus who's used to interacting with weird people in weird situations in non purely murdery ways, which is kind of ironic given the Smash Bros. But I don't know. I feel like there's more. You could have more of a party girl element to Samus that's not so uptight, and you're missing out by not going down that road. Yeah,
I don't know if writing Smash as canon just feels very old Samus to me.
But I love that. But it's so good. Yeah.
Feel the same. Well, you can see even her critics differ. So who knows what they really want out of Samus? But let me just say,
fair enough. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
One last thing in terms of something I can objectively criticize. I do still think she doesn't move around very much. You'd expect Samus to be super flexible and mobile, and this butt pose, for instance, she's just kind of. I'm sure it's because it was easier to make that way, but she's just kind of standing still. And in general, she doesn't move a lot. You'd expect that out of Maya or something. But I think, dialogue-wise, she just comes off as kind of inconsistent now, because people said, hey, you made her less horny, but maybe you made her maybe a little too asexual. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll add some horny lines, which he did. But this is kind of getting back to what I was saying about how he's ready to move on, because you can see very clearly where he added them in. It's a lot of her lines are oh, I'm kind of nervous, I don't really know how to flirt with people, and then every so often she'll break out oh, I'm gonna pin you down and fuck you against the wall.
Oh,
it's
God.
What? And then she's back to being not, she doesn't know what to say. So it just feels very, very inconsistent in that way. And it's oh, well, maybe you could have smoothed this over a little better and do like a clear transition, and she just kind of goes back and forth. I mean, there's definitely stuff to like here. It's just, I don't know. It's not the choices I would have made, but it's not like there's nothing of value here.
I think that's a fair take.
And I can't help but want to target her with Maya some more, because she's kind of like the Uber Maya. She's like, if Maya didn't have a crew and she just slaughtered everything herself.
But Maya in a power suit, Maya Samus ult. Dark Samus Maya would actually be kind of hot. All right, so moving on to our next character, we have Wasp, first time character from Robin 87, with Superfluous User and Robin 87 working together on getting this character from Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, onto the roster. So, Tweetsy, what do you think about Wasp?
First of all, it is very interesting that two Marvel characters made it into the same, I guess, podcast period. So that's certainly interesting. So I have not seen the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. In fact, the only Wasp I am familiar with is from the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie from the MCU. Anyway, but yeah, Wasp is first of all, she's really cute. I think they captured her animation style really well. Love that outfit, first of all. There is a couple small criticisms I have. Like, the first thing I want to note is that I'm not entirely sure what exactly she strips off for her first object. There really isn't much visual difference, and I think that could be
A choker.
Yeah, it's a choker. Oh. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry. I played with her the last, when I played with her, I looked at her and I was like, wait, what did she strip off? And that
can happen sometimes with other characters.
That's fair. But yeah, I do find it very interesting that it's I have to wonder what made them choose this particular version of the Wasp, as opposed to any of the other Wasps. I can understand why they didn't choose the MCU Wasp, because, well, that is a live actor, but at the same time, she's cute, but I'm just stuck trying to think, like, why this particular version of the Wasp?
They probably grew up with her.
Fair enough. That works for me.
The cartoon aired around like 2003, I want to say.
Whoa, that's wild.
There were a lot of superhero cartoons around that time. I was watching SpongeBob.
Okay, let's see. I looked up the release date for the series. It looks like this particular version of the Avengers was 2010? Or maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing.
I don't know, man. I can't follow this. I don't know how anyone gets into Western comics. I guess you can kind of just jump in wherever.
Yeah, I think that's the advantage, but...
Okay, yeah, it was the 2010 Avengers.
Striking while the iron is frigid.
It's like, oh man, how do I get into Dragon Ball? It's like, well, just read Dragon Ball Chapter 1.
I get into anything nowadays, isn't it?
But speaking of Wasp, though, like, any other feedback, commentary?
Again, I was very pleased to see her creator kind of sweat the small stuff, or focus on sort of the foundational lines, the generic lines. I saw a lot of updates while she was in testing covering that sort of thing. It doesn't get a lot of attention, but it's something that really makes a character future-proofed and strong overall, to have that base when it's so tempting to just launch into targets forever and ever. I do think it's appealing. It's a pretty appealing design overall. So I don't know how many versions of the Wasp there are, but this seems like a perfectly fine one to me. She's they posted some clips and she was pretty sassy. I'm not quite sure what the appeal is of a character that shrinks so you can't see them anymore in a game that's all about staring at them. But maybe they just like the character, and I don't think she shrinks too much. So it's more of a curiosity in game.
Yeah, I think it's like something that you probably don't want to like leave out if you're working on a character like this, and it definitely isn't like I almost feel like it could be leaned into a little bit more of, not from like, not as a fetish I myself am into, but I know there are people that are into it. And the fact that, Navi has not been updated in a long time, there's certainly room to explore that. The other thing
crawls around on your dick. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
I think like if we had more character submissions like this, we'd probably be a lot more popular in like the 4chan adult cartoon circles and stuff, because they're always talking about like superheroes and other Western properties. But it's like, well, we make an anime character creator program, so them's the breaks. This is who we attract.
Yeah, I also think that, like, I don't know, I'm admittedly not a huge fan of Wasp. I think she has like a lot of dialogue which really surprised me. Like, by the time she gets to her forfeit stage and the sort of things that she talks about when she's stripping are all just like, the most pornified version of a character. And it doesn't come across as like organic. It doesn't come across as like I was really surprised to learn this too, but kind of makes sense for these reasons. Like the explanation is there as like, no explanation is better than like a bad explanation. And the explanations given are just kind of like, like to make sense in the context of porn. And I think there could be some more thought into how it is portrayed. She is very sassy. The personality is something I like, but I don't like her forfeit dialogue being just like, oh my God, I'm such a slut for like people look at me like jerk off. And I'm just like, yeah, but I don't.
Do you have any other examples?
Yeah. So like, if you go into like her masturbation phase, like there's this line that's just like, I'm such a whore, humiliating myself. Why does this feel so good? Everyone's looking at me, it's driving me crazy.
Why does this feel so good? I hate shit like that.
Yeah.
You're masturbating, that's why it feels good.
This is hot and humiliating.
Why am I so turned on? Could it be because you're masturbating in a room full of naked people?
Yeah. So I don't know. I think nobody's first character is super, very few characters. Oh, Jesus Christ, why is the sun in my eyes? Stop high-rise buildings.
nmasp, you just gave away your rough geopolitical location based on the recording.
Yeah, currently I am in Chicago at 5:30 PCT on this date in an area with high rises. So, good, you do it, guy. You dox me, dudes. So in a place I'm not going to be living in like 2 months. So anyway, I really, I don't know. I definitely think that it's like there's a lot to be learned, and I just think there's simple is better, and just kind of like sticking to who she is as a person probably could be a good next step. Anyway, TLDR, good stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of a shame. It's kind of a shame because Natty on the whole is very sex positive. Yeah. So she really have to call herself a whore. Mm-hmm. Like, let Revy call you a whore.
Right.
You don't have to do it.
Exactly. That's what I think.
I think I tune out a lot of masturbation dialogue unless they're all doing it and the game's over. I'm trying to, like, if I'm testing another character, I'd probably pay more attention to the lines they have. So maybe I just didn't notice. Well, ready to move on?
Yep. All right. We are going to take a break after this one, but Heris has made it to the main roster. So Heris is from Promare, which is a trigger animation written by Bryn Cal 953, posing by my Countess of Nord, with model by Rin Cal and Ramilia. So really a tour de force production from a bunch of up and coming creators and authors, which is really exciting to see. Like my Countess of Nord, and Ramilia have all been here for around a year or so, and Rin Cal for about 6 months, like as a developer. And it's just incredibly exciting to see a character like this come out, especially when she looks so cute. Tweetsy, I'll let you give your thoughts and spin on same, and then I'll come back to my kind of final summa at the end.
I'm pretty sure it's Eris and Promare.
Is it?
I could be wrong on that.
I have no idea.
I think the H is silent.
Well, the D.
All right, so go ahead.
I was going to say for Eris, the D is silent because of her tags. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so for Heris, I've talked with Rincal a lot. They seem to be very passionate about this character, and it's really awesome to see all the work they've put into this. First of all, Heris is a really cute design. Really love the attention to detail. She just feels first of all, I think she's one of the few outright lesbian characters that we have in the game, which is kind of insane to think about. I don't think there are any outright lesbian characters because most don't tend to do that. Most
well, we've got a scattered few.
Fair enough, but most female characters are either straight or bi. Well, I guess bi is probably more common, but in general, I think Rin and the rest of the development team made a very bold choice by making her straight up lesbian. I'm not sure if that's canon or not. I've not seen Promare, so I can't say for certain.
I don't think it is, but I'll save that for my comment.
Fair enough. Even so, if it's just an artistic choice, I think it was a really good choice. She's a really good rep from an obscure anime series. Interestingly enough, she isn't the main character.
Promare is not obscure. It was like a big Trigger movie that came out.
She is not the main character, which is interesting. And I've talked with Rincal, and a lot of their characters, the next character they plan to work on, I'm not going to say who, is also not one of the main characters from their respective series. So take that what you will. Beyond that, I think there's one other thing I find really interesting about Heris is the choice to put her lab coat back on after finishing. This initially caught me off guard as like, why would you do this? This is a little weird. And then I thought about it. I was like, well, it's a really unique choice. And I think somebody recommended it. I do not know the whole story on that, but it is very interesting when characters put clothing back on after they're done with the game. And to be fair, you're not, like, she isn't covering up her privates when she puts her lab coat back on. You can still very clearly see at least her under there. That's a weird way of putting it. So it's not that she's any less sexy. But I think that was a really kind of clever decision. I am personally really looking forward to seeing what Rin continues to do. I'm really proud of what they've done. All I have to say is great job. I am looking forward to what you've got in the pipeline next for Heris. And oh yeah, she also picked up Saki for writing, so can't wait to see what you do with her as well.
Not to go in too hard on the writing of this game, but I want to say the most common sexuality for female characters is not bisexual, but sort of allegedly bisexual, where they kind of flirt with guys a little, but then when it comes to girls, mostly what they say is like, "Ooh, am I into girls now?" Or inevitably, when they have to comment on a vagina, they're just like, "Wow, you shave down there?" Or "I don't see what's wrong with shaving down there," or some other comment about pubic hair, because that's all people ever talk about. But talking about Heris, she got a newer, cuter model that's a little bit more accurate since last time we talked about her. And that's definitely a big improvement.
Yeah, the new model is great.
On the whole, for this project, what I was very pleased to see is the steadiness of her development. You know, she's already in main roster. She was on testing last episode. She was on main roster this one. She was, and she's just been chugging along. It's been steady work, which I think is pretty much, if you stall out too long on testing, I think it's, even if you come back a few times, it seems like they always end up stalling out again. So being able to really keep up the work ethic is a big part of actually making it to the main roster.
Agreed. And I think that's super impressive, by the way. It's just like sticking with it, getting them done, and moving on is like choice. That's like incredibly good work ethic and the sign of great things to come. Like in an age where characters routinely spend like 6 months or more on testing to get this out in a reasonable amount of time is really nice. And I think she's starting, I don't know if she's all there yet, but I think she's starting to take sort of the writing advice I gave last time, where she's adding a little bit more flavor to her lines. But nmasp, I'll let you go. I think I have very complicated feelings around like sexuality tags on characters. The first thing I want to say is like overall, like I totally respect the direction the project went. But I do hope it's not like indicative of a writing habit to come. You know, to your point, spnanon, like not every character is super good at like being well versed at showing attraction to both sexes, and that's kind of fine. Like not every writer is going to be into all categories all the time. But I do think it's just sort of like a tactical misstep to not have general appeal, at least to the player. Like I think player sexual is the way we tend to phrase this, and that's something that's kind of a miss. Like it doesn't bother me personally, but it's just something that's like it's interesting to me because there's a lot of characters that get a lot of flack for this, but Heris skated by without that. And, I think that maybe is a good sign that she's particularly good in the niche that she's going for.
It's probably because she just moved along relatively quickly.
That'll do it. I also think something that's like really nice about Heris is that, goodness gracious, I just forgot what it was. She's a science character that's come in after some other science characters. So there's definitely room for her to be like once there are a couple characters in a given archetype, the next couple of characters that belong to that archetype are allowed to be a lot more different, which I think is really nice. So Heris came in at a time where there's like Sucrose, and now we have like Cagliostro and Rita. So there is definitely an opportunity for here to be like the kind of reserved, lesbian scientist woman that, the others are not. So I think it's overall just a good thing.
And of course, obligatory comment. Speaking of lesbian scientists, she looks just like Maya's mom. She's not happy about that.
Good. Yeah, good. Don't.
I've already explored that a little bit more, and it shall continue.
Oh boy.
She's not gonna suddenly want to fuck her mom. I hope you realize that. It's gonna be awkward the whole time.
I mean, I'm. There are people that are into that. I'm not one of them. I'm not gonna push you into whatever direction you don't want to go, man. So, okay. With that, that's the 5 characters that made the main roster. We have a bevy of testing characters. Let's take a 5-minute break, and we'll be right back.
So, moving into the testing roster, right? We have a few characters that we probably should have covered last time, but we didn't quite get to them all. Here we have Kora, a blade.
A blade from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I have no fucking idea.
Which one she's from? I'm glad you know, because I don't.
Oh, it's on her metadata tab, dude.
Yeah, I don't have the game open.
Oh, well,
I'm going to search for GIFs of her, but of course, because no one on Tenor can spell, I search Kora, and I get the Legend of Kora with 2 R's.
Right. There you go. Onboro and Callie worked really hard on this. Onboro writing, Onboro and Callie.
It's her, the last Airbender.
Oh my god. So basically Kora's in sponsorship right now. If you like her, go ahead and give her some support. She has less than 1,000 lines. It's a good chance for her to grow in her vocabulary. And I will hand this over to Tweetsy. What do you tell us about Kora and your thoughts on this character? Keep in mind that this can be very freeform criticisms, things like that, because the testing characters are on testing for a reason. They need to learn.
Fair enough. First things first. I have to wonder. She's a Xenoblade 2 rep. It surprises me that she hit testing sooner than somebody like Pyra or Mithra, because
welcome, Snatty. Welcome, yes. Snatty, dude. This is how this goes.
Mithra was in the game.
Wait, what? Mithra is in the game?
Yeah, she was a testing character. The
model's in the game. Yeah.
She's probably really fucking old, though.
We also have, Hope, who's super old, but also a Xenoblade character.
That's true. But I will say this, the choice of Kora, first of all, a really cute model, very interesting design. From what she was probably one character I never got a chance to test, but from what I have seen, she seems batshit insane, but I do like batshit insane characters, so I'll take it.
Got like a Looney Tunes effect going on her, and I'm here for it.
Anyway, not to mention, the one thing that I'm a little confused on, and this is because I have not played Xenoblade 2, is I'm a little confused as to why she has, of all things, blue lines in her body.
Okay, that's because she's a blade, I think, but I don't know what that is, and that's something I'm going to talk about.
That's true. It's a little jarring, I will say. Especially if you don't understand.
I guess we could say it now. she's really ditzy, but that also means that she doesn't really explain herself very well. So the entire time I had no fucking clue why she had those lines on her body or what a blade is. Sorry, I'll let you continue.
Yeah, I just couldn't figure out why is the thing. Like, it's confusing as all hell as to why she has this. Some explanation would definitely be nice. However, overall, I think that the developer did a really good job with her. I am very excited to see her on main. Overall, I think that. I guess spnanon. Guess you can go ahead and start talking about what you wanted to talk about with her.
So Joe, a prominent Kiseki artist and former character dev, he really likes Xenoblade. And way back when
the
he showed me,
developer formerly known as Joe.
He showed me like a couple like Xenoblade characters. Like, oh, I bet you like this one because she acts like Maya or whatever. And my first thought was like, she has a really busy design. And that's kind of my thoughts on every Xenoblade character, including Kora. First thing I think, she's a very busy design. I don't think it's bad. You know, it draws the eye. It's got some interesting features. But at the same time, it can be hard to make some of them out. If you squint, she kind of already looks naked. Or at least wearing a really skimpy bikini. And it's hard to know where her clothes end and her skin begins sometimes, because until she strips off a bit, it's hard to know that those blue lines are actually part of her body. And like I said, because she's excitable, she's goofy, she's ditzy, she's sociable, she's cute, she's like encouraging. She's a nice, fun, optimistic, positive presence on the table for that reason. But it also comes with the flaw of she does not do a very good job explaining herself in a game as fucking weird as an anime as Xenoblade. So a bit of a double-edged sword there, and I hope you can sort of thread the needle there in terms of getting me a little bit more up to speed as to what the fuck this girl's talking about. Because I do generally like her. Otherwise, I just have no clue what's actually going on with her.
It's maybe less of a double-edged sword and more of a double-edged Monado blade. That's an object from
your whore mouth, Tweetsy.
I know what a Monado blade is.
God damn it!
I have enough osmosis.
Okay.
But,
that was good. That was good, Tweetsy.
That's the one that Joe likes, right? Is Shulk, and the one he doesn't like is Rex, and that's from
Rex is the worst. I got you, Joe. Don't worry, Rex is the worst. There is no character worse than him. Hitler Blade Chronicles is a good podcast about this.
The other thing with this archetype of a really ditzy character, just for me personally, is that all my characters are fairly grounded. So this also happens when I'm trying to talk to like someone really memey like Ms. Fortune, where she'll say something goofy and wacky or something strange will happen, and my character's reaction always just has to be, "What the fuck is the matter with you?" Trying to talk here, and you're just going on about some random shit. So just on a personal level, she's cute, but it's hard to engage, even though she is pretty sociable.
I think like the first thing to me when I saw this character was like, holy fuck, what an abortion of a design. There's like way too much bullshit going on here. And then my second thought was like, way to go to get this into Kiseki and not like shoot yourself while doing it. And the third thing I
think the main appeal of this design, if she had a butt pose, it's because you can see like she's got like assless chaps.
Yeah, I think like
she's got half of her ass hanging out.
I mean, the model work here is extremely impressive, just because like, man, what a hassle that had to have been. So respect where it's due. I was also not it is very hard for me in my spinanon dotage to look at a character with less than 1,000 lines and be like, yeah, I'll give this a shot. But I did because I was like, well, she's coming up on sponsorship and, maybe I'll like her. And I do. I think she's really cute. I think the personality is really interesting. And I just wish she leaned more into that. Like, I just want more of this character. And I hate to give that as feedback because it's like, oh, yeah, just go write more lines. It's like, cool, I guess. I think the thing with Kora is for a character that's under 1,000 lines, like, if you want to be the type of developer that just puts a character into the game that's very simple with kind of not a ton of higher aspirations, not like from like that this character is bad sense, which is in the sense of like this character is complete as is, and I'm not going to like have a meltdown if they're not in the top 20. Kora is a really great example of that, of just like, hey, I made this character. She's cute. She's going to be fun at your tables. You get a couple games out of her, and that's all you really need to do. That's fantastic. And I think she's just a great character for that. I do really like how derpy she is, and she's just like this like stream of consciousness idiot ball moments. And I think I just like characters like that, though. She's super cute. I think, not explaining anything is, not to do like the chat explains nothing leaves, but I think there could be a little bit more to it than that. But she's really funny. And I think like this, like one of her masturbations lines is like, ha, wish, like kabam. And I thought that was just super cute. She's really cool. I like, on Boro, I know we meme you to death for being like the penis guy or like the feminine penis guy. But good job with Kora. I do hope you keep writing her and keep doing some stuff with her. She's a really good first character, and I think the writing skills here, tell me that there's like the second character is going to be really, really strong. She's super cute.
Give her a butt.
Yeah, give her a butt pose. She has a huge ass.
Give her a bunch of butts. More butts. I'm not seeing any butts here.
The one thing I will say is like definitely like there's an easy improvement with just like adding some more lewd stuff to it. Like she's like very positive and upbeat, but I think like you could be a little bit more lewd with her rather than just merely happy. So go for it.
See this right here. This is the closest you get to seeing her butt. Just lifting her hips up. It's not enough.
It's good stuff though. It's a good butt. Okay.
All right. I have a confession to make. I grew up in the 2000s. I went over to friends' houses. I did not play Uno ever.
You lived a sad childhood.
You don't have the quintessential immigrant experience. There is nothing more American than Uno. I said it. America and Uno are one and the same.
I am not an immigrant, so.
Well, the ironic thing is, Uno is Espanol for one, but that leads us in to the man, the myth, the legend, Uno.
Uno.
From Moreo card match Uno.
God,
No, isn't it like Morero?
Nord, why have you done this?
Morero.
Just like it's like a shitpost like meme video, and he made a character out of it. Like very. All right.
Yeah, it's from one of those like YouTube sketch channels. You know the ones.
Yeah.
Used to be like College Humor back in the day. I don't know what it is now, but
here, yeah.
They if you're looking, if you're thinking this is some sort of like Crunchyroll, like Western anime style, but not actually an anime, like oh, they made an anime about Yuno. No, they didn't. It's just a joke.
He looks kind of like Timmy Turner,
aged up Timmy Turner.
Yeah, God.
Does he actually have any gifts?
I don't. Probably not.
Oh my God, he does. Nord probably posted it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's basically just like if they made an Uno anime like Yu-Gi-Oh. All of his references are lost on me because I've never played Uno. I only know like Uno reverse card. I had to look up the rules. Apparently, you got to like add up the points. What do you have to do, math or something?
All right, Tweetsy, take us away on Yuno.
Hey.
You know who?
You know who. Okay. So first of all, isn't Yuno already on main roster?
Yep.
Yes, he is. I was going to mention that. So
Yuno was on the testing tables, and then by the time we did this episode, he went.
Here's another one we didn't quite get to last time, and he has also had a pretty consistent development because really knows where to put in the effort when it matters most.
That's true. Yuno had a freaking incredible turnaround time.
Now he got to main roster before we could cover him, but we're just going to cover him for the first time now. You can go play him right away. You don't even have to go to the testing roster if you're one of those people that can't find it. If somehow you manage to find this, but not the testing roster. Anyway, it's His head looks like an apple.
But
Tweetsy, what do you think?
He has a freaking incredible turnaround time. First of all, seriously, who developed him again?
It was Nord, the same guy who made like every character in the last year.
Yeah, he did Leone. I think he did Petra. Or wait, maybe that's thinking of the wrong Nord. But yeah, Nord did a really incredible job. Incredible turnaround time, first of all. Second of all, he had only a 2-minute video clip to work with. That is how long this Uno parody was.
This is the kind of thing that should be an April Fool's character.
Exactly. He translated a 2-minute video clip and turned it into a full-fledged character. How do you do this? Nord is legit fucking incredible. I am impressed. Very, very impressed. Not to mention, artwork is really good. Very well put together. It's amazing how well he managed to capture the look of this weird, obscure character that, like, I highly doubt most folks are going to care about. But, like, seriously.
Anime style, but like YouTube animations anime style.
Yeah, it's like something like High Guardian Spice. We don't talk about High Guardian Spice, but
is that the one with the guy is that the one where the guy thinks is like his girlfriend finds his like transformation wand and she thinks it's a vibrator? Is that the one I'm thinking of, or
no? High Guardian Spice was that weird Crunchyroll original with like a Western animation team.
Okay, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, you don't need to know. Anyway, but yeah,
Okay.
Yuno's really good. I think I did not play with him because personally I am not really attracted to guys in the game, but I really do love what Nord did with him. So yeah, well done, Nord. You are incredible. I guess Spanon, take it away. What are your thoughts?
Nothing is really wrong with Yuno. My main point of criticism is why.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my usual thing of cutting in here, but like that's 100% my agreement. I'm just like, why would you? Why? Like, he has like 1,200 lines and good art, and it could have gone towards like pretty much anything else. And I'm just like, oh, okay.
I mean, at least he didn't get bogged down with this guy for like 6 months.
Yeah, it's just like it's a me. I think this is my criticism that I'm gonna just get out ahead of time. It's like, we're gonna do 3 male characters in a row, and they're all kind of like meme troll characters at like different levels. They're clever in their own right, but it's like, I know I would be pretty sad if I got like, if there were 3, if this game was mostly dudes and I was waiting for like a girl character to come out, and then the girl character was like, I don't know, Kizuna Ai. I'd be happy at some level, but I'd be less happy if it were 3 Kizuna Ai's in a row.
Oh my god, there are 3 male characters in a row. We're gonna like this audience retention is gonna tank.
That's okay. We'll follow up with Nico Robin and just try and like, AED it back to life.
She's got enough tits for 3 men.
It's true.
Yeah, Nico's basically dead in the water for the time being. So we're not talking about
well, he's gone back and forth, but we'll talk
It's
about
funny
it.
because shit gets funny because the devil fruit causes her not to be able to swim, so literally true.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. So yeah, like the closest analog I can think is like Suction Cup Man, who was made as an April Fool's character, and rightfully so, because he comes from like a 1-minute YouTube animation. Why you decided to turn this into a fully fledged character when there's basically one joke? I mean, there's a lot of effort put into it. He even like made models of all of like his friends, his like friend group.
Yeah.
That appears, and they all appear in like encouraging like anime flashbacks. This is totally just like a Yu-Gi-Oh.
And it's not like
parody,
Ghost, but it's just like, it's amazing. Like,
where he believes in the heart of the cards.
Yeah, like the amount of effort that went into this, I'm just like, this is the male Kizuna Ai, isn't it? Like, in terms of like what we got, what we paid for, and then what was delivered.
I mean, like,
it's good. Like, he's
again,
a good character. I'm
just
mad.
Maybe he was just using this to like test out a couple of the ideas he had, because there was some interesting stuff going on. Maybe I can find. I think there was at least one pose where I thought was really funny, where like one of his like right ball hangs like lower than the left.
What? He periodically gets erections, which is really funny.
Yeah, see, look, it happens. See? Which, I mean, that's pretty realistic. So you throw in that bit of visual interest. There were also a lot of lines where he's like an anime protagonist, but he's also kind of dorky around girls. And there's a couple lines where it's clear he's like struggling to hide his erection, which honestly is something that doesn't happen enough with male characters. It'd be pretty funny. I love writing lines for Maya to men about just like, wow, you really can't keep it a secret if you like a girl, can you?
Amazing.
Let's see other things. His horny lines felt a little too flat. Again, I think a lot of writers male writers writing male characters, they just don't want to come off as too pervy, ironically, since they sought out a porn game in the first place. But Nord took a few pains because there's so little to work with. He didn't want to just make him an OC, sort of, and just have him parrot everything that Nord thinks, which I can respect. In fact, he went as far as making him an ass man, which Nord very much is not. But again, that meant that he was writing for something that he didn't really understand the appeal of. So there's a lot of lines where, he's making an effort, and if he continues to write it, I'm sure it'll get better. But it's the sort of thing. Well, that sure is good, but it's like, well, you don't really. If you have to announce it like that, it's like, I sure am straight. Sure am feeling very heterosexual right now. And again, it's like I don't know how you can end up not making it feel like an OC when you have to make up so much shit for him. Just goes back to that question of it's good, but it's like, why? It's very good, why? But the question remains. If you're interested, go ahead and give him a shot. It's not like he's bad.
Should he or should he not be? That is the question.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with all the things you just said. I basically think that like Nord is quickly becoming one of the best writers in the game by virtue of the fact that like the band's like Samuel Jackson. He does not give a fuck what the role is, what the responsibilities entail. He's just like, yeah, I'll do it. You want me to build this character's art? Yeah, I'm fucking on. Oh, you want me to write this? Fuck, you don't want me to write this? I'll write it anyway. Fuck you. I'm Nord. And it's great. At the same time, just like, you look at something and you're just like, so much wasted potential. Like, there's so much good, like, high effort work that went into this character that could have been like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know who like a male character that people really want is, but like this could have been on a lot of different characters and been just as well. And I think with Nord especially, like, dude, you're working on so many different characters. Like, be careful. Don't do what I did. And it's like write 10 characters, then like fall apart on them, and maybe do that. That's fine. But it would be cool to like fundamentally like pick the concepts you want to work on and then work them into other characters too. I'm not really sure what I'm saying, but it's impressive. It's like this character is really impressive. I'm just like sad that it's not for me. Like it's like, okay.
Well, I think the other thing with the OC thing is he kind of comes off as just like a regular guy a lot.
Yeah.
He asks questions that it's just sort of like a regular guy would ask that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Because again, there's not a whole lot for him to have like a really unique perspective on. But I'm just impressed that like he started working on this character and like 30 minutes later, you'd think he'd be like, all right, it's not funny anymore.
And then, but Nord being Nord is just like, yeah, I'm going to keep going for it. Deal with it. I've barely even considered like any other projects because I think about it for more than 2 minutes. It's like, all right, do I want to write this character or do I just want to momentarily masturbate to this character? The answer is always the latter. Spinati warps your brain though, because sometimes you'll just be like playing something, you're like, yeah, I can write this character, Spinati, and then sometimes you like when you're younger and you've got the willpower, you're like, yeah, sure, I can just whip Ochako out in a weekend, no problem. And now I'm like playing a game and I'm like, man, what a cute waifu. Nah.
Yeah. Well, I often see reasons not to write for a character, which is usually there just isn't enough there.
Right, that's fair. But, I think that's all to say, like, it's, getting a character on the main roster is always an accomplishment. And great job on Yuno. Nord, please be careful with your time. Focus on things that make you happy. If Yuno makes you happy, then do that. Cool.
All right. I think it's high time we get into furry territory. So...
No, it's not time for that ever.
Our second male furry.
Yes.
I have another confession to make.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I grew up in the 2000s. I played
I was
video
always
games.
a Jack and Daxter player. I didn't play Sly Cooper.
I had a PlayStation 2. I did not play Sly Cooper.
Burn the witch.
Neither did I.
Who apparently did not wear pants in his source material? I'd have to look
Yeah,
that up.
so it would seem.
But he wears pants here, and that means that he takes them off immediately.
And
And
immediately
apparently his dick is an image attachment because I'm not seeing it here.
No, it is. It's he has a erect and non-erect display that he alternates between because they're all custom poses.
Yeah, it's advanced dick technology.
Sin alias, like
Why are male characters just like test labs for all this emergent technology where you give them a dynamic erection based on how many tits are out?
I'm an honest guy. Like my male characters are honest. You get Adrian, you get Leon, and you get 9S. Also, like
Here's a zoomed in inset of Sly Cooper's erect penis.
Yeah, so,
At least it's a human penis.
Sin alias, it's so interesting because it's just like Takatoshi, all right, Barbara, yeah. Then Sly Cooper, and you're just like, what? I sure. It always feels like someone's like third or fourth character is always like the fucking weird one. But I don't know. I think like people get like it's like this like life cycle of the Spaghetti dev where you come up with like, this is my waifu. Then you move on to something that's like a little bit more high profile. And then at some point after that, you're like, yeah, that was fun. But what if I just did something like fucking weird? And then you do it and then you feel better. And then you go back to like other stuff. So I don't know. It's like, it's interesting to see that happen. Cause like your like fourth character was Ryoko, right?
Yeah. Well, it was Ryuko.
Ryuko? Sorry. I've been playing a lot of 13 Sentinels and there's a character named Ryoko. So anyway. Also, Sinalius started me on that. Cool. Anyway, let's Tweetsy. Let's talk about.
Was what made me to think a little bit harder about who I actually wanted to work on.
Yeah.
So first of all, he's a furry character. That's admittedly kind of rare in Spaghetti. There are very few outright furry characters I can think of. Like, I know Rouge is getting a furry form eventually, though that's, I think, still a little ways down the line. I do not know if the model for that's done. Or I think the model's done. I don't know if they finished posing it yet. So, first of all, we're getting, full-on furry character. That's really good. I'm not personally a furry myself, but it is nice to see that those folks get some representation. Beyond that, we talked about how he takes his pants off first. I personally find it really interesting that that he does that. It just helps him stand out more, and I think it makes him seem like a bit of an exhibitionist, if I'm being honest. And like the fact he takes off his pants and you realize, oh shit, there's no underwear underneath. Well, that really hits when it starts to hit the fan, doesn't it? Not to mention, it's just really, really well done. I know we all try to do go for source accuracy here, but like, holy shit, that is a legitimately good model.
Yeah, it's super good.
Yeah, like, it's freaking insane. Like, they captured the look of the character really well. I personally did not test Sly myself either, because, again, I have no attraction to furries, but, like, holy shit.
It's okay. We are all furries.
Neither did I, but I fucking tested the male furry. You can.
Okay, fine. All right, well, yeah. Like,
we're all furries on this day, my brother in Christ. Right?
Yeah, okay, but yeah, like,
this dude gave me bedroom eyes the entire game, and I put up with it. He wanted to give me his knot. He wanted to take me down into his knot hole.
Is there any more intimidating feeling than knowing that Sly Cooper is like actively trying to fuck you? That's a good like indie game concept. It's like instead of Five Nights at Freddy's, you're just trying to avoid getting fucked by like furries.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Instead of like Nemesis, it's like Sly Cooper. He's just stalking you.
Sly Cooper just slips into the library level and then he fucking strips his pants off. It's like Sweetie Smootie, and then you're just like, oh no.
Something I'm looking at the two pictures you posted is the second one you posted. It lacks the tail, oddly enough.
Yeah, that's also an image attachment. It moves around all the time as well.
Oh, that makes sense. Like, that's actually kind of realistic for animals.
Sly just takes up a lot of space. His face is wide. He's got the staff. He's got the tail.
You know who I'd like to see interact, actually? Sly Cooper and Perona, and just like how they both take up like inordinate amount of space on the table. He Sly Cooper tries to steal.
Face.
Yeah, Sly Cooper tries to steal Perona's like parasol. Funny.
That'd be funny. I don't know if Perona's still being updated, but they could like, I don't know, have all custom thing. He takes her umbrella, she takes his staff.
Yeah, Sly Cooper, Perona dual forfeit. It's it's what the people want.
Oh, it's what she finally got another stuffed animal.
There we go. But this time the animal stuff's back.
Oh yeah, speaking of Sly and Rouge, do they have any interactions together? Because I feel like these two would mesh together really well.
I think Rouge's author has been kind of busy.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, Sly's a really interesting character.
Yeah, I'm ready to say my piece.
Yeah.
I already talked about his bedroom eyes. I guess if I'm picking Sly Cooper in a non-testing capacity, I would want him to give me his knot. But one of the main touchstones, it seems, for how he's written is he's very aware of the difference between him and most of the other characters. Talks about how, I don't normally wear pants.
I actually really like that.
So I'm going to take those off right away. It's like he doesn't even understand that it's weird not to wear pants. And then he has a lot of lines joking about how, you're not what I'm used to, but, I'm down to fuck or whatever. So it's not like he's not interested in the others, but he's very aware that he's a little bit different from them. He's built different, which is something I criticized Dust for not doing. Dust is the other male furry, and he he's kind of acted like he was a human. So, yeah,
one of those things where it's like the characters in Elysian Tale think people are like, they're all humans, though. Is it like that? Is it like Night in the Woods?
I don't think so. I think he knows. I think he knows everyone else is a human because he talks about how they're different from what he's used to. And he keeps it pretty lighthearted. He keeps gloating about his skills. He keeps joking about how different they are and how different he is. In general, like, his lines are pretty clever and fun and upbeat, and his model really draws the eye. Even when he's forfeiting, he still has that smug aura, which I always like to see characters crack a little bit when it gets down to business like that. So it's not like he wasn't well written, but he did end up feeling kind of static. One clever line that I really liked was that he made fun of the idea of a no touching rule. Because we tell people not to do that anymore, and he's just like, wouldn't that be stupid if that rule existed? Of course not. You can touch me all you want. At least they gave him a human penis.
I don't think he would be allowed with a non-human penis. Like, I think that is like a strict no-no per the rules.
So yeah, I think as far as making a character unique, to literally talk about how unique he is and how that might affect sexuality and sexual preferences, I guess that's what I would say is the best route to take. It seems like he's doing that, but he's sort of got one foot on base still, because he's always joking about it, but he doesn't get into the real nitty-gritty of, like, I don't know, the anatomical differences, whatever they may be. Have you ever French kissed a snout or some shit like that? But
no.
So I don't know where Alias wants to take it. Again, it's like, do you actually want to fuck Sly Cooper? It's hard to tell sometimes. I don't know if Nord really wants to fuck Uno.
I think Alias. I think Alias is there for it. Alias, like, don't take that the wrong way, but like, you wrote a good Takatoshi. Now you're writing Sly Cooper. It's okay. Like, we love you. Please don't turn X Gonna Give It to you and then put Sly Cooper modified into my RE playthroughs, though. That would not make me happy.
nmasp, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like Sly. I think there's very much like a strong effort that went into how he was written. He's a very smooth operator. I think he leans enough into the furry stuff that like those types of people will be happy. Also being kind of conventionally enough that it's I see this character being the type that's going to awaken something in someone, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think it's kind of the nature of the game. I don't really have like a lot of critical feedback for him, honestly. I think he's good. I think He is flirty. I think like putting himself in situations like flirt with other characters is going to be really exciting, especially for like the furry adjacents, like Sucrose and Rouge.
All right. Well, you may have suspected, I certainly did, that Yuno came from some kind of like Crunchyroll anime original that was made by a bunch of Americans or whatever. But here we have, coming up next, a character that is actually from some Crunchyroll or apparently Netflix original made by a bunch of Americans, but in an anime style. It is Kaz Khan, and nmasp, I believe you know a little bit more about Neo Yokio, Kaz's source, so why don't you go ahead and explain that?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So TLDR, Neo Yokio is a Netflix series that is anime adjacent, and the main character, Kaz Khan, is voiced by Jaden Smith. Yes, that one. His best friend is a robot butler that looks like Starscream, voiced by Jude Law. Jude Law, who is normally known for quite a verbose speaking role, is reduced to speaking in monotone thanks to an auto-tuner that they put on him. It's just a giant shitpost. It's not great, but it's hilarious.
Now I understand why the creator of Bobobo made this game.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised that Kaz Khan's in the game. I'm not surprised that it's Fence writing him. But anyway, the best experience I had with Neo Yokio was I watched this incredibly drunk off my ass with like a friend of mine, and I was like, that couldn't have been as weird as I remember it being. And I watched it again sober, and I'm like, oh, that was exactly how I remembered it happening, and that's unusual. The second thing is like I recommended to a friend to just like troll him, and like a week later he comes back to our group chat and it's like, which one of you fuckboys recommended Neo Yokio? You have you owe me one. And so anyway, moral story, it's a very interesting show, and Kaz Khan is kind of unironically a great character for this game. I'm just surprised, but then it's like Fence writing it, so I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'm infinitely less surprised at this stage. So it do be how it be.
This makes me wonder if I should even bother giving legit commentary on what is essentially a shitpost of a shitpost.
I think Fence is wholehearted and full-throated with his shitposting. The least we can do is honor and respect the shitposting that he is doing.
Fair enough. All right, Tweetsy, what do you think?
Okay, so again, I know nothing about this anime. So in general, I do not know anything about this character. I know nothing about who the hell this character is. Again, this is one of the few characters I didn't test, but I will say this. He is interesting. I will say he doesn't actually grab your attention from the outset. Like, that's, I think, and I kind of guess that's kind of the intention of his character, but like, when I looked at him, he just, like, you look at him and you're thinking, and you just assume he's just another anime pretty boy. But no, I bet if he's as batshit insane as Bobobo, at least how y'all described him. So yeah. Beyond this, I looked at his line count in the game. Doesn't seem like he has too many. I think he has a little less than 500, which is like frighteningly small, especially for a modern character.
He has not been getting a lot of updates.
Yeah. I won't be surprised if he drops off by the next update. But yeah, I think his model is good. Doesn't really grab your attention that much, but then again, I don't think he really needs to. And at the same time, I think the biggest criticism is that he needs more lines. Because I, especially as Miku's developer, know the danger of not having enough lines when your character enters testing. Because I think when Miku first entered testing, she only had, 197 generics, and the rest were targeted. I do not know how many she had when she first entered the game, but yeah, I think more lines need to be put into Kaz, because I'm sure this guy has a lot of potential. So
yeah,
I'm just gonna say it. Get to it. Get to writing.
In high school, I went on a school-funded trip for 2 weeks all around Central Europe. And we went to Switzerland, and I ate some Toblerone. And it was pretty good. Those are my thoughts on Kaz.
Yeah, like has a very interesting history with Toblerone because he used to fly a lot between our home country and then where he was working. And they'd always give him these like chocolates on flights. But the problem is like chocolate melts at body temperature. So he'd always like put them in his pockets and they'd melt. And if like the ceiling wasn't that good, he'd get like chocolate all inside of his pants.
Oh.
And so like at one point he's like sitting across from this like old lady and he reaches into his pocket, he pulls out like it's like covered in chocolate, right? This old lady looks at him with like horror and then he just starts licking his fingers. It's like that's why I think of with Toblerone. But this is all to say, yeah, Kaz, it sure is fucking like
I was going to give actual feedback.
I'm gonna give actual feedback to you, but you go first. Go first.
I didn't even know that he is a joke, or that he comes from a joke source at least.
Oh yeah, no, it's huge memes. It's super
like,
memey.
For an alleged joke, he's played pretty straight, or at least I thought he was. He's this snooty rich guy. He's sort of like a less annoying. He's like a more socially apt Chaz. He's still kind of.
I hate that comparison because it's really accurate.
He's still kind of full of himself, but not to a shonen anime level. It's just sort of he's kind of snooty and uppity. I liked like nice details in his dialogue, talking about like the brands he wears, like Ralph Lauren and all that. But he's pleasant for most of the time. He's so undemanding though. He's so like, yeah, I fuck bitches every night. At all these get-togethers.
The thing is, he actually does though, unlike Chaz
and fancy dinner parties. That he's like, yeah, I don't really need to see tits here. So he doesn't demand a whole lot of the other characters. He's so easygoing that it's like that's kind of why I thought he was like a serious character, because he's just, I don't know, he doesn't do anything all that stark. His poses are pretty simple. He's always got this calm expression on. He doesn't open his mouth very much. He looks to the side a little bit too much. It's like his one pose. I'm not going to be able to find it quickly, but even his angry pose, like he doesn't look that angry.
You don't deserve this giant Toblerone.
Looks more indignant.
He just looks mildly peeved.
Yeah, so it's just he's very dialed down. Maybe that's just because Jaden Smith is he trying to capture the energy of like Jaden Smith tweets?
It's not.
It's just like, nothing about this strip poker game is real.
It's not wrong. It's like it's kind of the way that I would describe Miyu Yokio is it's like, imagine if someone took like The Great Gatsby and then just like threw anime memes at it and then took itself entirely seriously, but like from the perspective of someone who doesn't want to.
Well, that's bizarre.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, serious feedback. I think this is Kaz gone. I'm amazed at your ability to write these characters, Fence. I kind of agree with the feedback. Just getting more dialogue here, but the dialogue he has is like perfect. Like this is this character. It's amazing character writing. You're going to run into this problem where you need more depth and spontaneity than Kaz has in his host material. But like, I can't tell if I like. I can't tell if it's like I hate this because it's a shitpost or I love this because it's a shitpost. And I'm kind of inclined to say that this is really good. I would say that like I think after Kaz, like Fence, not every character needs to be a shitpost, but I think Kaz and Bobo are both very good. And that's kind of all I really got. Like he's good. He's Kaz Khan. He adds something new to the game. Very smartly chosen. Just keep working on him. I think the thing that I would like to see more with Kaz compared to like Bobo, just like as a writing critique, is even if he's kind of blasé about certain things, I do think that Kaz could stand to have people flirting with him, and that kind of requires you to reach out to authors to flirt with them first. That's really it. That's all the feedback I got. I think he's a socialite and has the ability to do that and should probably try to engage with it in more substantial detail. That's all. Good stuff. I'm ready to go on to our next character.
Now, if you have jumped to the time code for Nico Robin because you didn't want to sit through 3 male characters in a row, we have finally swam through the ocean of cock and made it to another female character. And boy is she the female. One Piece is not known for its measured character designs. Speaking of measurements, she has apparently 100 centimeter tits. Which, holy goddamn!
Wait, that's a meter.
Yes,
100 centimeter bust.
100 centimeter bust line.
Oh, okay.
That's a measurement.
Because I'm like 3 feet of titty is like that's
she is her chest is 1 meter around.
Oh, God,
for reference, Nami is apparently like 98. Jura's always talking about her tits. She's 93.
I'm not a huge fan of the titty monster characters, but anyway, Nico Robin from One Piece. Yeah, we do.
It's Nico Robin. She's dressed for the beach, even in a bar.
So yeah, Tweetsy, you go right ahead.
Oh, well,
let me first say she's not currently on testing at the time of this recording. She was on for a while and was removed because there's a few reasons. Metal Guitar has spoken about how he's been in sort of a funk in terms of there was figuring out her voice because she's sort of a serene sort of character that he's not used to writing, and he's not sure like who exactly he wants to appeal to, if he wants to sort of like cater to what players, casual players are asking for, or developers, or what he wants. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing here, and it's sort of a complicated issue. So he's kind of gone back and forth as to like where he wants to go, or if he wants to keep working on her or any of his characters. So, I mean, if you're listening, please give him your support and let him know what you think. But I will say, like, he has poured in just as much fantastic effort into this character as he has for all of his other ones. And she is definitely worth a play, even in her incomplete state. She's very impressive. So, Tweetsy, what do you think of Nico Robin?
I admittedly did not test Nico because I was assuming that we would just skip over her.
Actually, her name is Robin. He said this, but it's like a Japanese name. Nico is her last name.
Oh, her name is Robin, but yeah, Robin. I kind of just skipped over because I assumed we wouldn't be going into any detail with her. I thought it was just going to be a quick passing mention because I assumed we were going to be talking about our next character.
I think that's fine. We can just kind of briefly mention her and then move on to Mari.
Yeah.
So just briefly, what do you think of Nico Robin?
Really good model. That's all I got to say. Keep it short and sweet.
Okay. Obviously, I just said she was really impressive. Dialogue-wise, he said he wasn't quite sure like where he wanted to go with her, or how to capture some of her voice. She's got that sort of serene energy. It's sometimes like funny and deadpan, like, oh well, no one will notice you lost. She generally kind of acts like a little bit older than everyone else, a little bit above it all, just sort of not too perturbed by anything that's going on. Pose wise, that's definitely where he did and usually knocks it out of the park. She's got a lot of animations, and the main thing that's really impressive is her posing like in the forfeit, because he looked at Kisuke, he looked at the default leg options for sitting and being like, yeah, this is all shit. I'm just going to give her actual leg poses that are really sexy. And I'm pretty sure she uses image attachments for that, so it's hard to really post here in a concise way. But give her a try yourself, and you'll see just how limited Kisuke is compared to what she can do. And I'm really hoping this can be implemented more generally into Kisuke's, like downloadable image attachments, so people can start implementing it themselves. And I mean, we already skirt around Kisuke's limitations anyway, so we might as well.
True.
But yeah, she's just really, really impressive graphically. And he might not be sure about the dialogue, but I thought it was definitely getting there. And sounds like distinct from Nami, for instance.
Yeah, sometimes it takes time for you to figure out what kind of character you want, because I know with Miku, I struggled to figure out initially what I wanted out of her character, and until I actually figured it out. So I can understand the struggle to figure out what you want of a character. So I hope you figure it out. Best of luck to you, buddy. I know that's not your name, but I don't remember your username. I'm sorry, but it's good luck to you, partner.
Metalitar? Did you hear that?
Yeah, Metalitar is the author.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. I didn't quite. Sorry,
Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy.
So well done, Metalitar. Good job.
He's been around forever. Respect your elders, such as me and nmasp.
All right. Okay.
nmasp, what are your thoughts on Nico Robin?
I think the character writing is actually really strong. I think Metalitar, as you know, I've said this before, and I mean this very sincerely. I think Metalitar does not write or make bad characters at all. I think Robin is well written. I think the arms and legs thing kind of freaked me out, in addition to her massive, enormous fucking titties. But I don't think all characters need to be for me. I think Nico Robin is an excellent addition. I do think that maybe for Metalitar, my suggestion is I've gone through phases of burnout writing too. And my suggestion is just take a break and go back to fundamentals. It's okay to just say, this was my first swing at this. I'll come back to this when I feel like it. And, there's worse places to be than, saying Marinette's going to come out when you've released 5,000 lines of new characters since you said you're starting work on Marinette. So it's just take your time, dude. You can do whatever you want. Just have fun.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I didn't mention, but that's her power, by the way. She can spawn clones of her limbs.
Yep.
Basically anywhere she wants. The sexual implications of which are obvious, but I'll let you imagine. And she uses it to great effect in Spinati too. Of course she does. But I mean, I already gave my advice to him, but it's dude, at the end of the day, I'd say the only thing you're really beholden to is yourself, and obviously, the original source material, and you want to capture them effectively in that sense. But it's just what you want to do, man.
Yeah.
Don't worry about anyone else. The plebs complain and they ask for more, but that doesn't mean they're not happy with what they have. It just means they're just used to free stuff.
Right.
It doesn't mean they're not satisfied. Okay. Right. Let's move on to we're getting a little bit more into characters that came out recently.
Yes.
I think this was a week or two ago. This would be the end point, and we would just stop.
Yep.
And then 4 or 5 new characters dropped all at once.
We can probably get 1 or 2 in, I think, right?
All right. Well, if we're going to do that, then I'm going to switch around the agenda here a little bit and cover a character that's kind of been on a little bit longer.
Okay.
nmasp, I know she's your absolute favorite. We're going to talk about Shamir.
Who?
Shamir from Fire Emblem Three Houses. She returned to
great! Our first Fire Emblem rep.
Yes.
Oh, I see. You want to basically rotate it, so we do Shamir and the other one first, and then come to.
Because she's been on the agenda for longer.
Okay.
Yeah, but what's really going on with Shamir? I mean that not in a terribly bad way, just in the sense of has she gotten updates since she got back on test?
She has.
Oh well, fuck me. Sorry, I'm an asshole. But anyway,
here and there. It's a new writer. That's the main thing. I think the same writer as Asuna. New Asuna.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's talk about Shamir. That makes sense.
All right.
Tweetsy, did you test the new Shamir?
Yes, I did test Shamir. I tested her today. Okay, well, first of all, her model was made by the man, the myth, the legend, Horse Killer. So of course it's gonna look good. Horse Killer, everything he touches turns to gold. It's actually pretty incredible. Another thing is, I actually never played with Shamir in her original form, but
there wasn't much to her.
Yeah, okay, but I definitely remember that she was just kind of brought to play strip poker just so her boss could watch her, which is kind of disgusting.
Yeah, it
However,
was some non-con. Well, it was some. It's a classic porn trope, right? She has to be tricked into
yeah, no.
into getting hot and heavy. So
So I think the one thing I will say is that I think it was a very smart decision to make her definitely more into it. The one thing I will notice is that her bio doesn't seem to have changed to reflect this new change in personality, where she's just kind of where it still says that she's gone to play strip poker by request of her boss. Whereas whereas like now it feels more like, oh, it's a Tuesday night, I'll go play strip poker. So that you got that. I will say I love how calm and collected she felt. Like I feel like she could have shown a little more emotion, but I'll admit I think what we've got this far isn't bad. Not to mention, I think she is pretty cute. I have not played enough Three Houses, so I know nothing about her character beyond what I've seen of her in Spinati. But I must say they've done she seems decently intriguing. Although I would like to see a little more personality out of her.
now, I can say that Shamir's new writer, has removed the questionable content. Right? She is no longer being tricked into playing strip poker by a mission given to her by a dirty old man who's masturbating in the corner. Talk about overthinking shit. But I think that goes beyond it, and he just liked the idea of self-inserting as a dirty old man. Really, that comes with its own questions. But he removed the questionable stuff, but I don't think a whole lot has been added to make up for it. And that's my main criticism. She kind of overuses this pose in particular that I posted, which I think is called disinterested, which that kind of says it all. I was kind of disinterested. She does not emote very much. She's very stoic. She's very cool and collected, which on its own isn't bad. But as the writer of a stoic, serious girl, I consider this a bit of a harmful stereotype. You're perpetuating the stereotype that stoic girls are boring. Stoic girls have no personality. Because, I get that a lot. And it's because Shamir never really had a strong opinion on anything. It's okay to not have strong emotions, but there was nothing that really pissed her off ever, or there was nothing that like she wasn't okay with, or that she was really excited about, or that she wanted to see. She's just like, every time she had a line, there was always this like extra qualifier that she added to the end of the phrase, where it's like, oh, I had bad luck. Well, that happens all the time. It's like, I'm going to take this off, but it's not really that big of a deal. It's like, it always kind of undercut what could have been an opinion to make it something that I guess it's a little bit more common sense, but it also weakens the character overall. Maya has lines about how men are stupid, but she doesn't say in the very same line, but I know they're not all stupid. Yes, that's implicit. She can say that in other lines. Just it's give a little bit more flavor. She's just kind of there. I do like the spin, the little arrow spin pose she has though. That was a nice animation. That's my main point of like dialogue criticism is it's okay to just like stop writing a line. Sometimes you just get lines that they just go on a little bit too long and you write too much, where maybe it's a little bit more common sense, but it also just comes off weaker as a result. You don't need to add that little extra bit that kind of contradicts the rest of it. And just in general, add some spice. Add some spice to the stoic. Because otherwise people are going to say stoic is all boring. It's not true. Not true. It's a harmful and
spnanon is very offended by the prospect.
Yes.
Yeah, I admittedly did not have a chance to replay Shamir. I thought we were going to get to her at the end of the agenda. I think she's yeah, no worries. I haven't seen enough to know what's changed with her, but there's nowhere to go but up, which is good. And I think the fact that the questionable content's been trimmed out is strong. I think like if I had to give like critical feedback here. I would just say like you need to reach out with this kid. Like the thing with stoic characters is the secret to making them really likable is to actually reach out and target a bunch of people and kind of use the stoic nature as a backstop against some of the other more flamboyant things that are going on in the game. So this does not mean, let me respond to every single must target. This means like go and talk to people, other authors, and get them to write lines to your character by writing lines to them first. That's really, that holds true for anyone that's listening to this. It's just like if you want like to have a good writing experience, write lines to other people's characters and like talk to them over Discord and don't just like send one line. Some people are like, well, I want to write one line so that people will respond and have time to build a conversation. I'm like, yeah, but like if all you're giving is like one line, that's not as much incentive to respond as if like there's a couple of different conversations to pursue here. Or if you're confused, just reach out to people and say like, hey, I like Maya. Let me talk to Maya and then work out a conversation. It might take a while, but I think you'll be happy with the results. That's all.
Right.
Okay. I know. I wanted to cover that just because she's been waiting for a while. She probably shouldn't have been at the bottom like that. But now we are getting into we're approaching the end here. But I guess we'll briefly. Well, we'll see how much time is left.
All right, sounds like a plan.
Let's back to our regularly scheduled new characters that have not that weren't on testing last podcast. But we're finally done playing catch up. Here we have Mari Setogaya, who is a succubus / vampire from a series name that is escaping me now.
I think it was a Deke Sekai or something like that.
Right. It was some kind of. It's like a literal.
It's like an age. Yeah, it's like an age video thing.
It's she's from an actual hentai.
Yep.
Which
we don't get a lot of to be. I mean, I guess if you've already seen her naked, you don't really need Strip Poker Night at the inventory for that.
Fair enough, but like, she is the first proper hentai character we've had in Spinati, which is insane. Okay,
I don't think that's true.
Well,
that's definitely not true.
Okay, well, she's the first one that's explicitly from a hentai. I know Saki could technically fall into that, but we don't talk about her. We do not talk about her source. We do not. We do not talk about emergence.
I'll talk about whatever the fuck I want.
All right. Okay.
How about the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine? Right.
Oh no.
Anyone have any abortions recently?
I personally think we should be pro-abortion. We need stem cells to do stem cell research. And let's be real. Like, if that's an option that's really on the table, how productive of a life are you going to live? Sorry. So this is another, let's have a...
Namask just wants like an abortion tax credit.
I do. I think everyone should have an abortion just once to see if they like it. I think like that's like, for what it's worth, that's a quote from The Onion. That's like, it was something like they were just memeing about like criticisms of Barack Obama, and one of the things was like on that topic. I think like we should do like a podcast special that's just like all of our spicy political opinions, and then just like put me and I don't know, Solitaire in a room and let us fight about capitalism.
No, we need Cavendish in here.
We're getting off track here.
The avowed socialist.
I mean,
you can have like your I don't know. He'll be the super ego. You'll be the id, and I'll be the ego in the middle.
Yeah. We need to get back.
Let's talk.
Let's get back on track here.
Speaking of the super ego and the id, let's talk about Mari.
All right. So yeah, like I said, first proper hentai rip I believe we have gotten. Of course, spnanon says otherwise, but out of like explicitly being from a hentai, she's the first character we've gotten.
Still not sure if that's true.
Number 2, the dynamic she has with the other characters is very interesting. And there's 2 different forms she can take on. Can you pull up? Because she has a cat form and a chubby form, to my knowledge, and you have to play with certain characters to get these. I did not play with any chubby character. I think you have to play with characters with big breasts to get Mari's chubby form, and then you have to play with cat girls to get her get her cat girl form, which I find is really interesting. And then
Well, I guess that explains why I didn't see either of those.
That's fair. Yeah. I did not
So,
either.
so it's big breasts makes her chubby?
I think so. I think that's what it said in the collection. I will say this.
We all know the line about like fat girls with big tits, right?
Fair enough.
Wait, what's the line?
That doesn't count.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, but yeah. Mari, I think, is really interesting. So I think in general, the fact there's a lot of effort put into this character is insane. Beyond that, I do love the cute little elf ears she has poking out. Aren't those just adorable? Like, look at that. You just barely see them. They're just poking out there. She just looks. Yeah, she's from hentai, but god damn, she's cute. I can't.
That is a pretty cute character element.
That's true. Yeah.
And they seem to disappear when she turns into a Neko.
That's good design. That's smart. Well done.
Indeed.
That's smart. You know what? I didn't even know. Well fucking done, dude. That's commitment to detail.
This man, whoever developed this, what was his name again? Sorry, this is like the third time, I swear.
It was my man's.
Oh, my man's. Yeah, my man's. Holy cow, dude. Great job.
Creator's like Fluttershy.
What a pivot.
He did Fluttershy?
He was saving it up. He was saving all the spice.
Wow. To go from a shy, cute girl to this is insane. Wow. Just well done.
Mari is a succubus and a vampire, and she doesn't immediately make those things clear, but what she does make clear is that she really wants to suck my dick.
Yes.
To the point where, I mean, she basically says the whole time, I'm here to lose. Which, to me, started to veer into like, show don't tell territory. Where, I mean, I guess, if that's just the way the character is, she'll announce stuff like that, then okay, I guess. But it's sort of like she had a lot of lines where it's just like, I don't really care about how good my cards are. Don't you just want to strip anyway? Don't you just want to lose? Which, it's basically the same side of the coin of like trying way too hard to win and always talking about who's in the lead. So I want to say she kind of feels too obvious in that sense. But, it might be in character for that to happen.
It is a hentai character.
I think she has bad difficulty. She always seems to lose very quickly.
Just the point.
She's not throwing the game, but she doesn't really care about the cards, which it can be a challenge because that means she goes through her layers so quickly that she often has little time to talk about herself or establish anything before she's kind of moving on to the next thing. She's fun, and obviously, she's horny and sexy and likes to show off, and it's hard to go wrong with that in a porn game. But she did feel very simple. Sometimes very simple and obvious. At the very least, it was kind of like a fresh perspective of like this, the succubus and the vampire, and she's also like in high school, and she's just like sucking guys' dicks or whatever. I literally had Revy taunt her about how like, oh, so if you wanted to move on, too many hand jobs behind the bleachers, you want to move on to something bigger. And it's just like, oh yeah, totally.
God, what a good character this is.
Yeah, so she's like 100% like not unashamed. She's 100% unashamed of like being the town bicycle, the school slut.
It's literally
Go ahead.
No, it's literally nourishment for her. So she's like, whatever. Girls got to eat.
Got to eat. Yeah, it's the same attitude as like going to get lunch. It's like, hey, you want me to jerk you off? Despite that, she had a surprisingly tame forfeit sequence. Basically just sat down and used her fingers, which I usually encourage that, but I don't know. I was expecting a little bit more fanfare from a half vampire, half succubus.
I think that's the good part, though.
She did kind of fantasize a little bit. She fantasized, but I was kind of expecting a little bit more direct dialogue.
Her masturbation really doesn't need to be that batshit insane. She just needs to. I think after all the craziness she takes through, maybe it's just just reel it back in, and just go back to basics.
I mean, if she doesn't change forms, then there really isn't a whole lot of craziness.
That's fair.
I don't know. That didn't happen to me, so I guess I got the vanilla.
Yeah, I really liked this character. I don't really have a lot of critical feedback at all. Just Myman's. I'm a little surprised this is coming from me, but like, hot damn, dude. Don't ever engage the chubby form, and you and I are good, man.
Well done.
Yeah, she's super cute. Like she's super cute. She's really nice. Like she's horny. Like I don't know what you want me to say. Like she's great. She's perfect. Like go for sponsorship.
Is it because she's chubby, or is it because you're scared of her balloon tits?
Both.
That's mean. I shouldn't call them balloon tits. They've actually got like pretty decent detail.
Yeah, I mean it's well done. It's just like I'm glad there's options for people. I just I don't
balloon
like
tits are
characters.
when there's just like two circles on her chest.
Yeah.
Two spheres.
Ugh. But anyway,
Patreon tits.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Mari's
we are
fantastic.
We are approaching the 2-hour mark. I'd like to cover one more character before we sign off. Because I kind of promised that we would.
All right.
Did we?
It ended up being pretty far down the list.
In that case, who should we cover?
Yes. So
Go on, spnanon.
this game doesn't get a lot of reviews because classy establishments such as IGN don't really cover it. I can't imagine why. It's a game like any other.
Who did you say we would cover today?
But if I had to give this game a rating, I would say 7.8 out of 10. Too much water, because it is Aqua Grunt.
All right.
Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. It's another Pokemon character and another Team Grunt. We no Plasma, no Rocket. We do have Magma Grunt, and here's her her rival.
All right.
The slimmer, the more socially outgoing, the Team Aqua Grunt. She loves water Pokemon. She loves the sea. She is all about that. She steals a submarine. She doesn't live in a volcano.
I really like Aqua Grunt. Like I like Magma Grunt quite a bit too, but I really like Aqua Grunt.
All right.
That's all I got. Like you guys go ahead and we'll talk about it in a minute.
All right.
What are your thoughts on Aqua Grunt?
All right, matey. I'm going to do this in a pirate accent just for good measure.
Please don't.
Okay.
Yeah, do not do that.
All right. First of all, really good counterpart for Magma Grunt. Really like how I think it's very funny that we got Magma Grunt and then Aqua Grunt later on. First of all, like really cute model. I really like what they did with her. One thing I've noticed is that they kind of are somewhat of an opposite in how they're dressed. Magma Grunt's in red and has shorts, no stockings, whereas Aqua Grunt is blue and has her midriff showing. So it's kind of interesting. Right off the bat, I played Magma Grunt, but I did not play Aqua. I played Aqua Grunt, but I did not play Magma Grunt. Though I've heard both of them have really fun interactions. The fact of the matter is, I'm sure just watching them banter and fight is the funniest thing ever. Because
I always test characters by themselves because
that's fair.
Like I'm sure that's good, but I want to make sure the character can stand on their own and not just be an accessory to Magma Grunt.
That's fair, in general, I think she stands out from Magma Grunt, while also being being a really fun character on her own. So really, you can play either of them together, play them both of them alone. It just depends on what you prefer. Right off the bat, though, I will say just really well done. Also, can I just say I like the blue striped socks? They look very good on her.
That's acceptable.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, but I'm very on board with like the Magma Grunt combo stuff. It's so fucking funny.
If you were going to make sort of petty criminals from Pokemon, the grunts of the evil team grunts, Magma and Aqua are probably the best choices because they're the most well-meaning. Yes, they are eco-terrorists, but it's because they're stupid.
Because they're good, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's so good. It's so
not out of
funny.
malice. It's because they think that like raising the sea levels won't do any harm. In the words of Maxie, I think I said this for Magma Grunt, but in the words of Maxie in the Nuzlocke comic, how could water be good? But yeah, they're well-intentioned extremists and very stupid. But that's better than being poachers and animal abusers. That's a little bit harder to relate to.
Yeah.
I find a weird note of like connection between them and like Maya because a lot of Vandred's setting depends on like terraforming technology and how they've like terraformed all these colonies to be livable. But anyway, in terms of criticism, the model is nice. Sort of like someone else said that like her twin tails. She's not supposed to have twin tails, but that's kind of what her hair looks like in the back. That should probably be adjusted. And this, dialogue-wise, she's like fittingly overconfident. She's got that edge to her, a lot like Magma Grunt. But this is a first effort, dialogue-wise, by the way. This is from a new creator. His name is The True Salt Mine.
And how can he be the true salt mine while I draw breath?
Your name, your whole name comes from how salty you were about our atheism.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, but like it used to be a default subreddit. What the fuck, Reddit? Anyway,
Tips Fedora.
God, fuck you, Reddit.
Oh, we can do that on the bonus podcast. Let's bring up our religious views.
Oh man, we'll do religion, we'll do abortion, we'll do politics, we'll do economics. What else can we touch on?
Rights.
Oh, gun rights is a good one.
Gun violence.
Yeah.
Okay. So
ethnic crime.
Let me just, despite being 13% of the population, Aqua Grunts account for 52% of all sea level rising. Okay. Dark types account for
No, stop. No.
50% of all item theft. Okay. What I was saying is,
what were you saying? Because like Jesus Christ,
this was his original. This is like his first character, and
right.
I think he might be a little bit too attached to her because Magma Grunt has some clear effort to like paint her as sort of an idiot. You know, like this basic bitch who like checks her phone and like squabbles with the other grunts. She's clearly like not someone you should agree with at all. I don't think Aqua Grunt goes far enough in that direction. She's a little too socially capable. She's a little too like flirty. She gets into the flirting pretty hard, almost like you're trying to sympathize with her. Or there's not enough done to really paint her in a bad light, even though she's like a stupid extremist eco-terrorist who can't realize that the sea levels rising are a really bad idea. There are some superficial lines in that regard, but I don't think it goes far enough. It's played a little too straight. It almost feels like a Team Aqua member wrote this. There's not enough to be like, yeah, she's stupid. The way Magma Grunt is stupid. And that's the funniest part of Magma Grunt is how stupid she is. So I think it needs to be clearer that these are two sides of the same coin. You know, Aqua Grunt might dress different and look different and have ostensibly different goals, but they're basically the same because that's how they are in the games. They are interchangeable. She is pretty hot, but kind of going off of that graphically, she has really big tits, which I like in a vacuum. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and post them. And they've got a nice detailing and all, but Magma Grunt also has big tits, and I would kind of expect the opposite, right? Like, Magma Grunt is like this, like, nerdy, like, you know, shut-in who's got, like, the big, fat, like, the sweater puppies. So you want to contrast that visually, right? Aqua Grunt is, like, darker skin. She's got a blue color scheme. She's had, like, this really lean swimmer's body with like, a pretty modest bust line. That's what I would expect, right? If you want to really differentiate the two. So that would be where I would take it. nmasp.
Yeah, I really like.
Go ahead and end us off.
Yeah, I really like Aqua Grunt. I think Spannon's point's really good. I do think having a smaller chest for her just to provide that contrast would be good, but not essential. I think she's hilarious. I really like her alone. I really like Magma Grunt. But I gotta try. I think I'm gonna have Natsuki target both Magma Grunt and Aqua Grunt and see which eco-terrorist organization she joins because she's mad at her dad, which feels like a very on-brand thing to do. So expect that in the near future. Okay, All right. Well,
That's another thing both of them could do more is just simp for their team leaders.
I don't need that. I want that either. So it's good. I think good characters. Cool.
All right. I believe that ends things off unless you have anything else to say.
Well, actually, before we sign off, what are your current, what's next? We can, thank you, Tweetsy, for coming on, and we'd just love to hear about what you're working on, what you want to say, where you want to go next with your Spinati experience.
All right. Well, first of all, I really appreciate y'all being here for me. This has been a really good community to be a part of, and I've really enjoyed getting to meet everybody here. They're very good. They're like initially when you think of a community like this, you think there are it's a full army of like a bunch of horny people, which I mean but like they always just talk about horny people, but no, these folks are genuinely nice human beings who are legitimately very passionate about the brand, about what's being worked on here. Spinati could have been nothing more than a porno parody game, but it's become so much more than that. And I really think that's what makes our community really strong, and I'm really glad about that. One other thing, don't be afraid. If you're creating a character, don't be afraid to ask for help. We, as a community, are all here to pitch in and assist you. We are not going to let you link behind it. And granted, I really should have thought about that when I did Miku, because initially when she hit testing, I was scared to death about joining the community because I'm not going to get into it, but I think I've just had some bad experiences with Discord. But these folks have been so welcoming, so kind, and they have truly proven how great we as a community are. And I really, if you're a new developer who wants to make a character, join our community server. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Explain, like, if you need, we have plenty of talented people who are here to guide you and assist you into creating something truly amazing. You are not alone in this community. You can do this. You've got all the resources available to you if you need help. All you need to do is just put that hammer down and get ahead. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I have a couple other characters in the works, but Nadashika will hopefully be getting here next couple of months. Can't guarantee that, but thanks for having me on, Spnanon and nmasp. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, good to have you on, dude.
Thank you for the heartfelt speech.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
All right, guys. Good to see you. Thanks for sponsoring Leon. Hopefully he'll hit the main roster soon, and I can go back to Marinette and other things.
I'll be targeting Leon a bit.
Give me my Leon lines.
Get those interactions in for you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Before you toss them into the bin.
Good night.
So long, Saddle Pals.
See ya.
All right.
Bye.
Adios.
Good night and good luck.
Good night, Spinati. Good night.
All right.